Hello there and welcome to Math with Miss McCurdy. Today we're going to be learning how to add and subtract three-digit numbers using base 10 blocks. All right, so first thing that we're going to do is we're going to pull up our problem for today. Now this is on your spiraling, so if you follow along, you'll get the correct answer on today's assignment. Now, let's read the question. It says, find the sum of the base 10 blocks. Now, the first thing that we need to figure out is, what does the word sum mean? Go ahead and think about that for a minute. What does sum mean? We should all know this. I know we've learned it in our class before. That's correct. Sum means addition. So when you are using addition, it means that you are going to add numbers together in order to find your answer. So let's take a look at these squares that we have down here. We're going to break each little section up so that we can break this into chunks. But let's review what each of these squares represent. The big giant one represents 100 because there are 100 little squares in that square. The next equals 10, and the small ones represent 1. Now, we are going to break this up into an expanded form problem. That means we're going to break it up by hundreds, tens, and ones. So, first we have our hundreds. And let's see, in our first top box, how many hundreds are there? That's correct. There is 100. So 100 stays the same, and it equals 100. So we're going to go ahead and write down 100 plus, how many tens do we have? 3. We have 3 tens. So if you skip count by 10 3 times, you're going to get 30. Then we have how many ones? 4. So you're going to go ahead and write 4. Now if we add this all up together, 100 plus 30 plus 4, you're going to end up getting 134. Let's try it on the bottom section. How many hundreds do we have? Once again, we have 100. So that's going to be 100 plus 2 tens, which will equal 20, plus 7 ones. And altogether, that will equal 127. Now, we're not done yet. We've just figured out how many blocks that we have up here. And we need to now add 134 to 127. So 134 plus 127, and we're going to break it up. Now I'm going to use a red crayon so you guys can see how I'm writing. First, we start in the ones column. So we have 4 and 7. 7 plus 4 is equal to 11. So you're going to put 1 on the bottom and a 1 on the top. Then we're going to add our tens column. So 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 1 is 6. And then 1 plus 1 is 2. So our answer is 261. That is your answer to the sum. But there's another way that you can solve this. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So instead of making two different numbers, since we are finding the sum, we can go ahead and we can add up and count each section here. So once again, we know hundreds, tens, and ones. Now let's see, how many hundreds do we have all together? Not split up, but in one whole group. In this big group here, we have how many hundreds? We have 2. So 2 hundreds would equal 200. What about tens? How many tens do we have? We have 5. So 5 tens would equal 50. Plus, how many ones? Go ahead and give a count. That's correct. You have 11 ones. Now, when you have 11 ones, that's a little bit more, and we can break that up into tens and ones. So how many tens are in 11? One set of 10. So 10 subtract 11 equals 1. So we have 1 left over. We're going to take our 10 and we're going to add it to our tens column. So we have 200 plus 60 now plus 1. That leftover 1 now becomes our ones column, and that 10, we added it to the tens. So our answer is 261. And that is your answer because that's how many there are here on the page. Okay, so 2 separate ways that you can do that. Just make sure you're watching your ones and tens, and if you have too many, that you're combining them. All right, so that was using our sum. Now we're going to find the difference of the base 10 blocks. What does difference mean? Difference is a different word. What is difference? Difference is subtraction. So that means you are going to subtract the 2 numbers, or you're going to take away from the bigger number. In our case, we're going to take away with base 10 blocks. So first thing you're going to do is we need to find out what our numbers are. It's awesome that these base 10 blocks are there to help us, but we need to figure out what the number really is. So again, how many hundreds do we have? 2. So 2 hundreds equals 200. Plus, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 tens, which is 40. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones. Now, if we put that all together, we'll get 200. Oh, whoops, messed up. We're going to get 245. All right, so let's figure out this one. How many hundreds do we have? Only 1, so we get 100. How many tens? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is equal to 50. And how many ones? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4. Add it all up together, 154. Now, we're going to put these together, and we need to subtract now. And you could subtract sideways, but for me, that's a little hard. And for some of you, it might be a little hard. I like to personally write them up and down. So we're going to keep the same order. Our 245 is still going to stay on top, but we're going to go ahead and write it up and down. Now let me get a new page here really quick. There we go. Now we have 245, and we have 154. Perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and subtract. Let me make a little bit more room here. Remember that 245 needs to go on top. Okay, here we go. I'm going to write it right here. Now we can subtract. Remember, we always start in the ones column when we subtract and add all the time. So our ones column is 5 and 4. 5 subtract 4 is 1. Now let's go over here. What about 4 subtract 5? That also equals 1, right? No, that is so not right, because our 4 is smaller than our 5. So with that being said, we're going to have to borrow from our neighbor, and our neighbor is the number 2. So let me fix this really quick. Miss McCurdy's making mistakes left and right. So we're going to borrow from the 2, and the 2 is going to turn into a 1 because we're only borrowing 1. And it's going to make our 4 turn into 14. Now, what's 14 subtract 5? Ready? 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. Your answer is 9. So now we have 1 subtract 1, which equals 0. Now, you don't always have to write a 0, but it does help to know your place value. Your answer then becomes 91. And you had solved that problem. Okay. Let's see if you guys can practice this. Go ahead and pull out a piece of paper at home, a scrap piece of paper, a whiteboard, anything you can write on to practice. And I'm going to give you some problems to practice. Now, if you need to pause the video, feel free to go ahead and pause it so that you can do the problems with us. Now, for this first problem, I've drawn 3 hundreds, 3 tens, and 3 ones. And I'm also drawing 2 hundreds, 1 10, and 8 ones. Okay? Now, I want you to find the sum. Go ahead and find the sum of this problem. That means you're going to add. Go ahead and add this up. Okay, let's solve it. So like I said, we had 3 hundreds, 3 tens, and 3 ones at our top. So if we're going to put that into expanded form, it's 300 plus 30 plus 3, which equals 333. Then down here, if we have 2 hundreds, 1 10, and 8 ones, that's going to be 218. And we're going to go ahead and add those up. So just right here, I'm going to draw it right here. And we're going to add. Okay. Like always, we start in the ones column. So we have 3 and 8. 8 plus 3 is 8, 9, 10, 11. So you're going to go ahead. Oh, let me get my red pen. We're going to put 8, 9, 10, 11. A 1 on the bottom and a 1 on our top. And then we're going to add our tens column. So 1 plus 3 plus 1 is 5. Then we're going to add our hundreds, which is 3 and 2, and that also equals 5. So your answer is 551. Let's try another one. Now this one we're going to find the difference. Remember, the difference is subtraction. So let's find the difference of these two numbers. I have drawn 3 hundreds, 2 tens, and 6 ones. And we're going to subtract 2 hundreds, 3 tens, and 4 ones. Go ahead and solve this at home. Remember, you can pause the video at any time or rewind if you need help. So now we know over here we have 326. That's our number that we've created with those ones. And over here we have 234. Now we need to subtract them, and we want to make sure we don't lose our order. Remember, the bigger number should always stay on top so that you don't get a negative number. So let's go ahead and subtract. We're going to start with our ones column. 6 subtract 4 is 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And then we need to go to our next column. But we can't subtract. We need to borrow from our neighbor. So we're going to borrow 1, and 2 becomes 12. 12, 11, 10, 9. Miss McCurdy made a mistake and I wrote a 5. It's actually 9. So it is 92. Just ignore that mistake that I made. All right. And that's okay. That's the thing with math. We sometimes make mistakes, and that's okay. But you guys did an awesome job. Way to go today. And just remember to always check your work, just like Miss McCurdy probably should have done at the very end. Have a great day, guys, and we miss you.